Good evening and welcome to the return of Beery Chats. The Irish are coming. So here we are. I'm Wayne.
I'm Janice.
IrishBeerSnob.com. We are joined by esteemed beer communicator colleagues from across the water in the UK. I'm going to briefly introduce them and they can talk a little bit about themselves. We also have Cam from 8 Degrees Brewing with us today to go through tastings of the full Irish, single Irish malt IPA and single hop Citra IPA. So if someone has not got earphones in, put them in because we'll be hearing ourselves talk to each other. I'll just turn down the volume a little bit on the speakers. So thanks very much. So we'll probably start with Steve.
Hello.
Just give us a brief intro and about yourself, please.
Hi, I'm Steve, also known as the Beer O'Clock Show, or one half of the various formats of the Beer O'Clock Show. UK podcaster and a fan of great beer.
And we'll move left to Sarah and Bob.
Sarah's just gone off to get some earphones. In my bag, tried my bag. Sorry.
It's okay.
Well, we'll come back to it if you like.
And Sarah's kind of just grabbing some headphones. I run a blog called the Midlands Beer Blog Collective, which every time I say it sounds more and more pretentious. So kind of taking a bit of a leaf out of Wayne and Janice's book and kind of trying to celebrate and promote beer in the Midlands, kind of focused on Birmingham because that's where we live, but we try and get other people to write kind of to focus out other parts of the Midlands and things like that. And like Steve, just really enjoy good beer.
Rory.
Hi, I'm Rory. I drink. I like the occasional beer. I'm a beer blogger. Been doing it for a couple of years. And I just quit my day job the other day. So if anybody wants to give us a new one, that'd be pretty cool. But apart from that, yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, there you go.
So I'll bring you.
Sorry, I'm bad at introductions. I'm not very good at it.
That was perfect.
No, that's pretty good, man. It's I like your introduction at EBBC in Amsterdam this year. I'll bring us on to Cam, one half of 8 Degrees Brewing. So Cam, thanks very much for joining us.
Pleasure, Wayne. So myself and Scott set up 8 Degrees Brewing in 2010. Our first commercial brewery was 2011, so we've been going for about 5.5 years now. We've probably produced about 50 beers. The brewery is based in Cork. You've probably already guessed that it's not a Cork accent that I'm portraying. I'm an Aussie and Scott's a Kiwi, so it's an unusual combination. We generally don't get along too well, Aussies and Kiwis, but I think Scott and I sort of find a balance, and the reasons for the success is probably is beer. We've had a lot of fun over kind of the first 5.5 year journey, I suppose. We're now about to launch into quite a large project, building a new brewery. A whole 200 metres away from our current site. So we're still in Mitchelstown at the foot of the Galtee Mountains. And so the future is looking very, very exciting and just a tad nerve-wracking at the same time. No, it's all good fun.
Okay, well, at this point, I think it's an opportune moment.
To open the first beer?
Yeah.
So I'll put that one down then.
Which one are we starting with?
Full Irish.
Full Irish.
Bottle opener.
We get rid of my umbrella then.
Full Irish.
Full Irish, yeah.
All those beautiful popping sounds. Sorry.
I even have my own 8 Degrees glass.
Oh, look at that, hey. Cheers to that.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. So I'm going to kind of let Rory, Sarah and Bob chat a bit about this in terms of impressions and everything, and then maybe Cam can talk us a little bit through how you came up with the beer and the recipe and everything like that. I know Steve's had it before when he was over in February for Alltech. Obviously, be interested to hear his thoughts on the latest batch, obviously, as well. So if you want to tuck in, guys. Sláinte.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yes. It's nice and dank, and I do like a bit of dankness in my beer, so that's a plus, definitely. It's really tropical, and I'm liking that.
Definitely. It drinks below its ABV. I could really chug that. That's gorgeous.
I've actually just noticed the ABV. Yeah, you're right. That really is coming underneath it.
Wow.
Well, Steve's enjoying his by the looks of things.
I just want to make sure I get a good taste of it before I say anything about it. It's got a lovely bitter profile.
Yeah.
For me, you get that from the very first mouthful, and it just washes right over through to the finish. But it's a really well balanced bitterness. It's not cutting or too much. It just finishes really nicely.
So Cam, the full Irish. Obviously, a famous breakfast as well, but a great beer. So, what was the thought process about bringing this beer to market?
Okay, so we brought this beer to market in April 2014. We had just got our brand new grain silo. Before that, we were just using the 25 kilogram bags. So it was a bit of a shift to the brewery. So we're actually able to use local Irish malt, premium malt. So what we thought we'd actually do is actually produce a beer that only had that one malt. So basically a base malt. And we thought, right, okay, we're going to do that. We better chuck some pretty interesting American hops in there. So there's Amarillo, and there's Citra, and there's Antonum, and there's a little bit of Centennial in there as well. So there's a truckload of US hops that probably the main reason for the beer's success. But we called it the Full Irish because it was really the first brew that we did to sort of celebrate the actually getting a grain silo. So it's a 22-ton grain silo, and it stands very proudly outside the entrance of our brewery. And it was only supposed to be a one-night stand. We were only supposed to do this beer once, and we were launching it at the Franciscan Well Easter Fest in 2014, and it proved very, very popular. And I guess the malt bill is incredibly simple. It is a single malt beer, but just the combination of the hops, and I suppose we're doing a fairly aggressive sort of dry hopping program to this as well. It kind of, in a way, sort of goes to show that sometimes the simple things in life can be the best, and can turn out the best. We're very, very proud of this beer. It's won a lot of awards, including the Bure Beer of the Year in 2015, which we're really, really proud of. Just recently got the Best in Ireland for the IPA in the WA awards. It's a beer, and it's interesting. It is 6%, but I've had lots of people sort of say, Jesus, I was drinking this, at the Christmas party, and geez, I could barely get out of bed the next day. So I apologise for anyone who's had a few too many of them, not realising that it is actually a 6% beer.
Yeah, it's quite potent, all right. And that's not the first time that's happened to you guys with a kind of one-off beer you've brewed that's ended up becoming part of the family and the stable, like Amberella that you chugged manfully before you started on the Full Irish. Was another one that kind of really took my breath away the first time I tasted it in, is that 2013?
I think it was actually, yeah.
And the Double Irish, obviously the double version of that. Great name, obviously, with the tax.
That's it. Yeah, bit of a laugh, So we figured that the punters wouldn't be able to get the actual Double Irish being the tax break, but they can at least still enjoy a beer. Or perhaps this Double Irish is a little bit more accessible for most of us, the mere mortals that don't have access to Cayman Island and Bermuda offshore companies and whatnot. So
fair enough. So, guys on the panel, what are your own thoughts there after you've obviously taken a few mouthfuls now at this point?
I'm really enjoying it. I think had it not have said on the bottle that it was single malt, I don't think I'd have guessed that it was, because it actually feels really complex. And I think the bitterness is beautiful, but it's just perfectly outweighed by the fruitiness of it as well. So really, really enjoying it. And first experience of 8 Degrees, and definitely won't be the last, I don't think. Really good beer.
Remarkably well balanced.
And so easy to drink, worryingly easy to drink.
So obviously Ireland Craft Beers, would they be one of your distributors outside of Ireland, Cam, or are they the only ones you have distributing for you into the UK?
So we have, they are basically our distributors for what would you call Great Britain. So we have another distributor, Prohibition, for Northern Ireland. Ireland Craft Beers are sort of basically England, Scotland, and Wales. Okay,
excellent. So Ales by Mail supplied the beers, and obviously they've given a discount code for anyone. So it's BeerSnob is the code. In terms of the reception that you've got from England, in particular, I know you would have been at was there an event in the Rake around Patrick's Day this year?
Recently there was one of the up in Belfast, the ABV festival. But which one are you talking about again?
Was it?
Wasn't it a cask festival, Steve, that you were at?
It was a selection of Irish cask beers at the Rake, and for people that know London, everybody will know the Rake Bar, because it's kind of it's a step on the craft journey, as it would be. And there was a fantastic craft beer festival there on St Patrick's Day this year that featured many Irish cask beers, and I remember struggling to get home that evening, I have to admit, unsurprising as that may be to many people.
A true professional, Steve.
Always taking one for the team. That's the thing.
So just going back to people's initial thoughts of the beer, Bob, what do you think?
Like I said, it's remarkably well balanced. So easy to drink, and like Sarah said, the fruitiness, kind of the lime, the kind of lime edge, with it's just lovely. I'm never very good at.
And this isn't your first experience of Irish beers, though, is it?
Oh no! We had somebody send some over to us.
Gee, wonder who that was.
God,
the lads in Ireland Craft.
That one up.
Yeah, it's like subtle, Janice, real
Hey.
subtle. Yeah. Ireland Craft Beers might be in a bit of trouble.
We've still got some 200 Thathams.
Yeah.
Ready for Christmas, so looking forward to that.
Yeah.
We do get a couple of kind of Irish craft beers over here. We regularly go to a place called Cottage Wines, which a lot of people know of. And I think they've had some White Hag in.
They've had quite a few now.
Yeah. So they are starting to get a few in. So we've had one or two, but most of our kind of experiences of Irish craft beer are thanks to the Irish beer snobs.
You're welcome.
Well, you're welcome. Yeah, I suppose Ireland Craft Beers themselves, the three mates have been pals a long time, and they got together and probably had one too many drinks and decided, we'll start a brewery. Then when they came home from the travels, realised actually that's not as easy as we thought. We might actually do something else. So they got into the export market, and they've been exporting into the UK since October 2015, and they've been making steady progress around a number of online retailers like Beers of Europe, Ales by Mail, for example. But I do know that they are picking up now a few of the more specialised bottle shops around the regions. Hop Hideout in Sheffield, Cottage Wines will be one, I'd say, as well. I think they were saying that, I think Beer Hawk maybe as well, but they are kind of making inroads slowly, but they've also got a great portfolio of Irish breweries, and we hope on this series to highlight a number of those over the coming months. Obviously, great to start with 8 Degrees, one of our favourite breweries anyway. So Cam, what special beers have you got lined up? Because I know I saw on Twitter something about barrels recently, or are you not allowed to say?
Well, we try and keep a few things, a few secrets up our sleeve. But yeah, no, we just recently acquired some barrels from France, from Burgundy, and we're looking to brew some. Well, we have actually brewed some nice beers into them already. So this might be an exclusive, actually. So I might as well tell you. We have brewed a saison or a farmhouse ale, and we've just put them into. Janice, I see you're shaking your head or something.
I think she was expecting a barrel aged IPA.
I'm sure it'll be a saison I love.
You're not a fan? Well, this one, we'll see.
There's been a few that have surprised me, so I'll be looking forward to what you guys do.
Oh well, hopefully. Anyway, if you don't like that one, then there's two others that are going into Pinot Noir wine barrels. That is an imperial stout, about a 10% imperial stout, which is actually tasting absolutely amazing straight out of the tank. And we're thinking, well, it can only go downhill from here. Well, no,
nice.
Hopefully not. But yeah,
I can't edit that out.
It's tasting so well that you're sort of thinking, are we really going to put this into barrels? And because it is quite a learning experience for us as well. But I mean, like that's why we do these things. You know, we're always trying to expand the knowledge a little bit.
Is this your first foray into barrels, or have you done barrel aging before? Was the Kindred Spirit that was barrel aged previously?
Exactly. Yeah, we did a collaboration project with Teeling Whiskey. So they were just starting out themselves as a new whiskey company, I suppose. And although they must have had a few old barrels from the old Cooley distillery, because there was a 25-year-old whiskey that we were barrels that we had acquired, and we brewed a stout into that, and we called it Kindred Spirit, and that was very well received, and it was around about the 9% mark as well, so it was quite high. But the third one that we're doing with these Pinot Noir barrels is actually a barley wine, so about 11% barley wine.
Lovely.
We might age that for a little bit longer as well, and see what comes out of there. But
Nice.
the barrels, I believe, have only been used once, so it probably doesn't need a huge amount of time in the barrels to sort of really get that the oak flavour coming through. So we're hoping to have those launched for Christmas.
Lovely. So
Rory, what do you think of the beer?
It's we've mentioned before how it's quite intricate, it's quite nuanced, but it's also very robust, which I like. It's it has its complexities, but it's complexities that aren't going to get lost as you drink more of it, and I really like that about it.
is everyone ready for the second yet, or are they still finishing off?
Steve, have you any final thoughts?
No. I just really enjoyed that. I did have. I had a question. Actually, I wanted to ask. What was the thinking behind going with a single malt bill for the beer?
Well, it was purely. We wanted to see what this new malt that we were getting 30 minutes down the road, sort of thing. So basically, because we had a new grain silo, we thought, well, we're getting some really quality malt, Irish quality malt down the road, sort of thing. So let's actually just brew a beer 100% and see what see how it performs. We actually found that the color was a little bit darker than a normal base malt, and so we sort of thought, well, actually, there's a little bit of flavor to it. There was a real kind of biscuity kind of flavor to it. So there was a lot going on as a base malt. So we kind of thought, and again, it was an experiment really. We wanted to see what it was like. But no, we were really pleased that it actually was able to kind of stand up to a pretty high dosing of hops. All right, so and we were pleased that it's still got that balance.
So that actually covers off a question that came in from the Cellar Monk. He actually asked, how difficult was it to balance a single malt with multiple hops?
Right.
So,
well, there you go. It's
there you
very
go.
simple. You just use a quality premium Irish malt. The malting company, I'll just a shout out to them. They are brilliant, and we're really pleased with the malt that they're giving us, and I think since we've actually been using them, the beers have been a lot better received, I think, as well. And also allows us to do a lot more hop forward beers as well, because there is that decent kind of malt backbone.
Yeah, just a couple of comments on Twitter already. So Cam, why we obviously are familiar with the story, but why did you choose to set up in Ireland yourselves? And that's a question from Steve's colleague Martin. Beer is the answer on Twitter.
Yes, well, we always say we give you one guess, and generally people guess. So both Scott and I are married to Irish girls, and whilst they both enjoyed living in New Zealand and Australia, respectively, they decided that what they really missed was the wet weather and the grey skies, and so we. But basically, as the negotiations go on, it's like, well, we're moving back to Ireland. It's like, right, well, can I set up a brewery with Scott? Sure. Really?
I'd say there was shock all around.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it sort of. I mean, yeah, that's the very, very short version of the story, but that's.
At which point did you go, no take backs? No take backs.
Yeah, exactly. Really? Like, I could ask for more?
Yes. Can I get that in writing, please?
It's got to be some kind of a trick.
Well, the other funny thing was, like, we moved back in 2010, the deepest, darkest part of the recession. So there was probably little else to do anyway. So it was like, let's set up a brewery, or what else? What else are we going to be doing? And Scott was an engineer, and you had all these projects going on around the country that were starting to dry up as well. And so he was also thinking, yep, this is the perfect time to set up a brewery.
A question in from @Miles Lambert. Which breweries inspired you?
Well, I mean, obviously, as an Aussie and a Kiwi, I think we've probably had our favourites. From the start, so speaking from myself anyway, it was Little Creatures, and also another one called Mountain Goat in Richmond, Melbourne, and I got to know them reasonably well. Actually, probably another one in Tasmania. I did a couple of days down in Tassie, and there's a brewery called Van Diemen. So I suppose for me, those three probably were kind of the standout sort of breweries, and they were the kind of the beers that we were able to enjoy back home or back in Australia. And at the time, there weren't that many sort of Irish craft breweries, and so we thought this is a great opportunity. I won't speak for Scott, too much, but I think one of them was Max in the early days before they got bought out. But I'm sure there's probably 3 or 4 or 5 others that, and now we're really inspired by a lot of the American style, probably the slightly larger ones. But Brewdog as well are probably one of our favourites as well. Beavertown, those guys producing great beers and really innovative and doing some interesting fun projects as well, and lots of collaborations, etc. So yeah, it's and having a bit of fun as well along the way as well, which I think is really important.
Cool.
Excellent.
Next beer?
Yep.
Next beer.
Let's do it.
Oh, we're waiting for that.
So hands up, whose favourite hop is Citra?
Yeah, everyone ever that's ever drunk a beer.
Hence, it's one of the most expensive hops ever now. Great question in there from Miles again. Obviously, he's doing nothing this Saturday evening as well. What challenges, Cam, do you see in the future for 8 Degrees as a brewery, and maybe just in a wider context, the actual Irish beer scene at the moment? Do you think a lot of breweries are going to have to start exporting to kind of make things viable for themselves, or what's your kind of view on the state of the nation at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, like it's interesting. The last 2-3 years has been a huge increase in the number of craft breweries in Ireland. But along with that, it's actually creating massive awareness as well. So, I mean, I think a report came out recently that Irish craft beer is growing at some ridiculous number, 500% over the last 3 or 4 years, and that is just testament to the fact that. There are a good number of craft breweries in Ireland that are kind of everybody's having to raise the bar, which is great. So there's a little bit of competition, I suppose, friendly competition amongst us. We want to be the leading lights of the craft beer scene, I suppose, and that is becoming more of a challenge. I think probably the last couple of years you could probably just brew a decent IPA and you'd probably have that mantle. Whereas now it's constantly pushing the envelope with new and innovative and challenging sort of beer styles, and obviously barrel aging is a big aspect to it, and sour programs and all sorts of interesting things, as well as a lot of collaborations that can help. I think really to stand out, you do have to. I mean, you do have to produce consistently great beers, and good beers just won't cut it anymore. But I think you really got to always have something new and fresh and exciting, something interesting to tell the consumer. And it's great because there's 80 odd breweries on the island that are also wanting to do and needing to do the same thing. So it is kind of a rising tide kind of philosophy. But yeah. So to answer the other question, do we need to export? Yeah, like I said before, we're expanding our brewery significantly, along with many other sort of craft breweries at the same time. And I think most of us see the export market as being a big area for growth. I mean, like Ireland is ideally suited for that, in that it's on the edge of Europe. And probably not too far away from the States and Canada as well, and also, I mean, like we even export to Singapore and Hong Kong and Australia. So I mean, like it's once you sort of dip your toe into the export market, it's not quite as scary as it seems to start off with. I know like a lot of craft brewers in Australia that don't even think about export because they don't need to. Mm-hmm. The market's large enough in itself, but I think in Ireland you do get to a point where you do need to consider seriously the export market if you want to sort of take it to that next stage, and that's probably a good thing. Yeah.
It pushes everyone to keep the quality good and innovation high as well, and that's great from a consumer point of view. So, guys, thoughts, Rory, on the single hop special Citra IPA? It's a great funky label, actually. I must say, it stands out a mile.
I am loving the label a lot. This is it's just that right level of woodiness and pineness for me. Like it's just resinous enough. It's just one of those a walk in the woods while going slightly insane beers that I really like the taste of. I could easily demolish this all night. I mean, 5.7%, but it doesn't taste it, so that's a bonus, and I'm just very, very impressed with it.
Steve?
It's really, really tasty. I mean, as you said in the introduction to the beer there, I don't think anybody's ever said I hate Citra as a hop, and I don't want that in an IPA. It's absolutely perfect in terms of showcasing what the hop can do. There's some really nice chocolate.
I hope
Fruit in there, and it's just finishing. It's finishing so easy. Again, we joke about it these days, but 5.7%, that's almost sessionable, isn't it?
You haven't actually had this one yet either, have you? This
is a first for me.
Bob and Sarah?
I think probably echo what everybody else has said. I was thinking just how well the malt bill kind of really showcases the Citra hop, and you're getting kind of everything that's good about Citra just really showcased them right up front. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
like Steve said, perfectly sessionable.
Yeah, sessionable.
Yeah, is 5% the new session?
No, I think you're looking at probably around 6.5%, 7% is a session beer now.
You're going down in flames next week, pal.
I think the threshold for sessionability is definitely on the up. In a few years, it's going to be imperial stouts all night. That's what
I look forward to
it. We all want to see that day, don't we?
Yeah,
but that's for us professionals.
Yeah.
Who's going to be the first?
We'll see the day, but we won't remember it the day after. But it'll still be a good one.
Yeah. I just waiting for the first brewery to release a session imperial IPA.
I'm just jotting that down.
Yeah, there's a challenge.
Market research for 8 Degrees.
Session Imperial.
I'm trademarking that right now.
Get straight to the patents office, Steve.
Yeah.
Beer's the Answer. Martin's back on again. He's actually over next month in Dublin. What bars in Dublin would regularly stock your beers for him to try, Cam? I know Barua on Clarendon Street has a rotational tap always in there, but there's probably a few others around town that you'd probably recommend, is there?
Yeah. I mean, we'll say Bull and Castle, one, Arthur's Bar, Frank Ryan's, Dark Kelly's is another one, Merchant Arch is another. Often, the Against the Grain group and Blackbird up in Rathmines. Good for you, Marion Inn, just a little bit further out in Sandymount. What do we got over in the north? Harry Burns in Clontarf. There's how could I forget the Generator Hostel? Probably one of our best bars. We've got 3 or 4 taps there. So no, there's a good few bars anyway, and I'm missing loads, I'm sure, but we probably have about 30 or 40 taps around Dublin and surrounds. So it's been well supported.
Do any of them ever make their way over to England?
Yeah. Well, hopefully again with Island craft beers, there'll be a lot more coming your way. There's been a few in some of the Brewdog pubs and things like that as well. Generally on rotation taps and the like. So hopefully there'll be some more beers coming soon.
Just on that event. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to ask if did you do cask and keg or just keg or?
Mainly just keg. We kind of I suppose as a brewery we probably adopt more of the US style of things as opposed to the real ale. Sorry about that. We have done a few casks, but we're not. It's not really our specialty at all.
Yeah, because I know Johnny Moran, guy who used to work for Brewdog, he was at the event in, I think it was a Brewdog Shepherd's Bush, Steve, the same kind of time frame as the event in the Rake, where they had, was it White Hag versus 8 Degrees?
Possibly. I don't know, I was busy drinking all the beers in the Rake.
Yeah.
Getting what my name was.
I just remember Johnny Moran saying that while he was still with Brewdog, that he was really impressed by the Full Irish, and even people have described in Ireland the Full Irish IPA is a real kind of benchmark now for any craft brewery starting over here to say, look, if you're doing an IPA, if it's not better than that, you're wasting your time. And I think you guys have been nailing IPAs regularly, and the single hop series, Amarillo, Mandarina, both fantastic beers as well. And it's great that the specialty beers you do, as well as your core range, are making the way over through Ireland craft beers to the UK and other markets that they export into, which is great for you guys. because we're all the time obviously talking about great Irish beer, and a lot of guys are going, well, yeah, you're in Ireland and we never get to see them. So if we can kind of promote it and somehow sneak some out of the country sometimes, some people, then it's all good, you know. I'm definitely going to set up a Shell distribution company. I think there's business in this somewhere.
Oh yeah,
you definitely should.
Or just swap bottles. It's what it's all about. Like we like trying stuff from all over the place, and that's the thing. So just another Cellar Monk has been following us online as well, and he has kind of said is 5.7% the new session IPA or session strength in Ireland. I think a lot of guys still brew to 4.3 for duty reasons, to be honest. But I'd kind of like that kind of level, to be honest. It's nice flavour and everything going on there.
Thomas McCarthy wants to know, Cam, what beers do you like? What other Irish breweries do you drink?
Geez, good question. That is a tough one. Like in terms of Irish craft, I mean, we've had a few. We're sort of at the tail end of festival season, so the ones I tend to sort of gravitate towards. White Hag for sure. Yeah. I think what they're doing. Some great experimental beers and some sour beers. Yellow Belly is another good one, particularly with sours. Wicklow Wolf, I love their beers as well. I think the guys that we kind of grew up with, if you like Trouble Brewing and Metal Man, and I always want to see what they're doing, and making sure they're not a step ahead of us in any way. It's look. I think the Irish craft beer market is great. I mean, I was saying before about the level. There's that sort of friendly competition. Everybody's raising their game big time, and
that leads nicely into his second question.
All right.
He wanted to know, what were your thoughts on the Irish beer market? Do you think it's becoming overcrowded?
Yeah, well, I mean, you could look at it a few ways. Like I've heard people sort of say that if you got rid of some of this craft beer that isn't really craft beer, how saturated would it be?
Let's not mention that war.
which could well be a fair point.
Do you think we need someone to define that?
Yeah.
No.
We only have like 20 minutes left.
Throw that one in. Yeah, there we go.
Right.
Just throwing it out there. That's Let's not go there. Let's not try and define craft. Right?
Moving swiftly on. Steve, you've obviously experienced quite a lot with the Irish beer scene, and you've been over to visit us quite a few times as well. What are your thoughts on it?
I think it's very progressive in terms of what's going on, in terms of the beers that are available right now. I kind of get the feel that it feels like kind of where we were here in the UK sort of 18 months ago, where things are getting really exciting. Everybody's trying to innovate and come up with new beers and be the leader of the pack. And for me, it feels like it's a really exciting time.
I agree. I think it's a great time for beer enthusiasts because there is so many interesting beers coming out. But I think it's also great for people who are beginning to dip their toe in without kind of going into that argument about the pseudo craft beers or whatever that are out there. I think the market does need your entry point. You can't just introduce someone to, say, who's never drank a craft beer before, to go, as much as I love the full Irish, I'm not going to give that to somebody who's never drank a craft beer before, because they'll be going like, what the hell am I drinking? And obviously there's a number of factors: education, competition, policing on the big guys to make sure they're not taking the piss. But they're all challenges that every industry faces. Like, obviously, I think you're about right, Steve. I'd say 18 to 24 months behind where you guys are, and probably maybe 3 or 4 behind the US, because kind of goes US, UK to us. But we are taking a lot more on the sour side, and there are 1 or 2 breweries, particularly Yellow Belly, who are absolutely smashing it as far as sour beers go. And they're also mad as a box of frogs as well, and that helps. You know, it's like they're all great. Yeah, they're great lads. I love Deck, great friend, great lad. But they all have their number one common goal. They are passionate about making the best possible beer they can, and if that carries through the whole brewery from the top down, that's where you see real consistency. And you've seen some breweries kind of come through the growing pains and get to that level now where they're just consistently making a really good product. And it's a fantastic time to be talking about Irish beer, because obviously, you know, if it wasn't as interesting as it was, we probably would have packed up a while ago and everyone would be going, thank God, you know. So yeah, it's really good to be involved in it. I
kind of do feel that the Irish craft beer scene is it's kind of been on speed for the last sort of 3 years, you know, in that it's amazing. Probably 4 or 5 years ago, if we produced an IPA like the ones that we're tasting today, it wouldn't have got off the ground. I mean, I think our Hale and Gale was considered to be just that little bit hoppy, you know, when we launched it in 2011. I mean,
that blew my mind the first time I had it.
Yeah, I think Sunburnt was the one that made a real impression on me when I first had it as well. I noticed Bob and Sarah empty there. Have you drank all your beer, guys?
I think.
Oh no.
Gone.
Well, you just. We might have to pixelate now if you drink another brewery. If you drink another brewery's product, we're going to have to pixelate it out. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
What are we pixelating out exactly?
What are we pixelating here?
Yeah. How are you going to pixelate across all of these?
It's like that, is it?
Hey, look at that! Supernova.
There you go. That was the one that you were pixelating out on your picture.
Yeah, and I only said nice love heart pixelation. That was not by intent. That was just pure my stubby fingers.
That was Steve Lamar.
No, it was just pure fluke.
But I was like, why haven't we got that one?
I Like Beer on Twitter said that Citra is currently his beer of the year.
Wow. Well, in fairness, there's a lot of praise for the actual the actual hop in question, as we've all stated. So, yeah, no, we had a lot of fun doing the single hop series, and
we had a lot of fun drinking it.
It was supposed to be a trilogy, and like in a typical 8 Degrees fashion, we ended up doing 4 beers in a trilogy. So we couldn't. And I'm sure we left out loads of sexy hops for next year's single hop series as well, I guess.
Did you ever think of blending the 4 and doing a blend with just them 4 hops in?
Well, it's funny actually, because we were talking about the full Irish, and well, I mean, there's a good whack of Citra and there's a good whack of Amarillo in there as well. So I was actually wondering if you pour in half of Citra and half of Amarillo, how close would you actually get to full Irish?
Yeah, because I think single hops can be difficult, like to balance it out. And did you use a single malt in that malt bill, or is there a bit more going on there?
There's a tiny bit more going on there, but not much more, to be honest. It's again, we were really trying to showcase the hops. So I mean, it's base malt. There's a little bit of torrefied wheat. There's a tiny bit of Cara in there, but otherwise, it's pretty much it.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Amarillo, I love Amarillo as well, but Mandarina was my favorite out of the single hop series.
Okay.
Galaxy was outstanding, but Mandarina just had a real chewy, like you would chew it. You know, like when you were a kid playing football and at halftime they gave you a slice of orange to eat at halftime. It kind of chewing on a Jaffa orange.
It really was like that. Yeah, I agree.
That's where it was for me, and it just had a real lovely appearance in the glass. And I was really happy that someone made a really good single hop Mandarina, because I've had a couple of other ones in the past by other breweries I didn't really enjoy as much. And the Barua in Clarendon Street had it on draft. I think I called in 3 or 4 nights. Just, I'll have a pint of that. So it was really good.
No, you're the one.
I'm the one. That's my stool. Yeah. So do you ever envision you'll be exporting west to the United States? Obviously, the competition will be very stiff there for the styles of beer you're known for now in Ireland. In terms of IPAs, you make a lot of really good IPAs and pale ales, and obviously the dark stuff as well. But is that an area you're looking at as well in the future?
Well, we'd never say never, but the thing is, we kind of want something. We want that unique selling point. We want something that, I mean, like when you go east towards, you know, sort of continental Europe, you know, you can actually sort of, like even say Germany, you know, you know, producing decent IPAs and, you know, a range of exciting and interesting beers is something that could be a little bit different. But the States, you've got nearly 4,000. How many breweries? Yeah. Nearly 4,000 breweries, all producing fantastic beers. I mean, like a lot of the hops that we end up using tend to be American hops, and they're using like fresh hops. Really, by the time our beers would get to the States, you really have to question whether they would stand up to be world-class beers. I mean, I think both Scott and I would sort of think, look, unless there's a real reason to do it, the States is an incredibly competitive market, and as I said, 4,000 breweries, of which there's some unbelievably fantastic breweries there producing incredibly exciting beers. I think there's a lot more opportunities elsewhere, personally.
Yeah, and I think I agree a lot with that, to be honest. There's a lot more opportunity in continental Europe for Irish and UK breweries than I would imagine going against the Americans in that sense. Did you have something?
No, I was just going to get more of the panel involved here and their thoughts of where they are going to be looking for their Irish beers. Where can you guys get them? Steve?
Well, I'm pretty lucky because we're also kind of tied into a bit of a series with Irish craft beers as well. So we're going to be getting some regular beers over and doing some monthly podcasts with what's available. And I know that, as you said earlier on, they're tied into Ours by Mail as well, who are a company that we've worked with for a good few years now as well. So for me, most of it's online. Although I was really chuffed a few weeks ago to find myself in Nottingham and happen across a pump of, was it Brew Dove on Nitro in there, which yes. I then proceeded to drain the night away just nice. Drinking that, and it was great to see in this kind of fairly quiet bar in kind of what is very much the student district of Nottingham, Irish beer having a real presence in a bar.
Brilliant. And Rory, have you noticed any Irish beer near where you live?
I've not seen a lot of Irish beer in the beer shops I usually go to. Tomorrow is Sunday, and Sunday is often my beer run day, so I can say without irony that I'm going to go to Coppers at Gosforth and say, hey, let's get some Irish beer in, because I mean this is excellent. So and I'm not saying this demanding any kind of financial recompense for promotion or anything. Really not.
You don't ask, you don't get.
Miles Lambert goes there as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, Miles Lambert, our tall friend as well, goes to Coppers and Gosforth. It's a name I've heard mentioned a few times. Yeah. Bob and Sarah have already mentioned Cotteridge Wines, is it, guys?
Yeah, it's one of the things that in Birmingham we're pretty lucky for. There's some really good bottle shops. Cotteridge Wines, I think, has been voted Britain's best bottle shop for a good few years by Rate Beer. Then literally less than half a mile down the road, the Sturchley Bar, Wines and Spirits.
They've also had quite a bit of White Hag in as well.
Yeah, they've had some White Hag that we've seen in a couple of other bits. And they are just down the road. Unfortunately, they're the other side of Birmingham to us. But, you know, we regularly take a jaunt over there and fill the boot of the car up with far too much beer and spend far too much on it.
So it's not just us that does that?
No.
Oh yeah, I'm
gonna have to call you on the far too much beer, because there really isn't any such thing as that.
We did a bit of a
Come on, buddy.
We've moved to another cupboard. It's spreading out throughout the house. We were actually joking with friends the other day that we're going to move out into the garage and the rest of the house is filled with beer.
Yeah, we have an Imperial Stout press, and I think then there is nothing but like 9% plus in there.
With 2 crates.
And we actually have, I think, I have half a crate maybe of 200 fathoms lying on the kitchen floor under covers.
This year's.
Which it's kind of like people call in and think we're alcoholics.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's research. It's research.
Exactly. It's business. It's expenses. So.
Well, yeah, that's it. I'll talk to the taxman and see what he thinks. Cam, Miles again, obviously eyes like a hawk. That's not a big bottle cap at the back there. That's actually just branded merch on the back.
That's one big bottle.
These are our new tin tackers, so I'm showing them off.
All right, excellent.
That is very cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was expecting a flashing knee outside.
Yeah, Sarah's like one.
Yeah.
Very good, very good.
It looks like it'd make a really good frisbee as well.
It might be dangerous.
Exactly.
That's the next step.
So, guys, do any of you have any?
I have a screaming child in the background. I might just duck off for a minute or two, if that's okay.
Yeah, perfect.
No worries, Cam. I was actually expecting you to turn up with childs in your arms.
Yeah.
We'll carry on without you anyway.
Just give me a second. Sorry.
So, guys, what are you on to now that you finished your 8 Degrees beers?
Oh, fuck. Sorry. I was gonna say, am I allowed to swear? It's 10
It's
o'clock.
YouTube.
It's past work.
Past the watershed, you're okay.
Let me just open the fridge and see what I can find.
Does it open any wider so we can all see what's in there?
No. I think we're just gonna.
Oh, halcyon.
And anyone got a klaxon ready?
Hang on, let me see if we can get a klaxon sound.
That's all right.
Because this is the latest batch as well, and it's tasting as amazing as you would expect it to.
Wow.
There we are.
Oh, there
Klaxon o'clock. Good pour on that as well, look. Professional.
Yeah, professional pass, Steve. Well done, mate. Rory, what you on, pal?
I am.
And he's back with the baby.
Oh, he's back with a kid.
Yeah,
Oh!
I am still drinking some of the freebies from EBBC.
But that looks nice.
Yeah, it's stout by Maximus Brewery.
Oh, I made brownies with that. I made brownies with that one, and it's they were good, weren't they?
You are going to be bringing that.
Myself and Steve are doing a collab bake.
Are we?
Wow.
Your idea.
It was my idea, but I've since realised how much I'm going to be drinking, and I'm trying to gradually back out of that.
So I'm baking.
Remember, you're going to be drinking all of the new IPA from Magic Rock. I think that was the plan.
I am. What day do you get there? You get there on Saturday, don't you? They're there from Thursday. I reckon I can do it all before you get there.
I don't reckon you can in that thimble-sized glass, Steve. You know.
He's going to bring his own.
I'm going to be laid under the keg. I'm going to be laid under the tap, just like pouring it straight in.
So Cam, this is the next generation of 8 Degrees brewer.
Yeah. Natalie's going to be the next the head brewer in 2035.
How cute!
Salute.
So is it Supernova to help him sleep?
I can't give away my secrets. Clearly, it hasn't worked too well tonight.
Oh, hello, our youngest fan.
Well, no worries. We're actually on the final stretch here. I suppose from the panel point of view, do any of you have any more questions for Cam? Or any questions at all? Like, we've been getting a fair few, but I think we kind of answered most of them through Twitter anyway tonight. But like, guys, do you have anything you want to ask Cam or anything like that?
Just when are we going to get the beers here in Birmingham?
Yeah. I've got to say, Ales by Mail have done a great job, though. My wife bought a case for her brother who lives in London, and they got to him no problems, and a great selection. So they're doing really well. So a nice shout out for them. They're doing a great job.
And 10% off as well, guys. If you use
I was just about to tee you up for that as well. Then.
Well done, guys. We'll bring you back. Cam, can you just tell us a little bit about Supernova and if it will make it across the water as well? Because obviously I feel slightly guilty drinking this.
I don't.
I'm quite happy with my house, Ian. To be honest,
I've
Yeah,
gone
so it's-
local with a bit of Twisted Barrel. The Great
Oh,
Lakes.
Nice.
Lovely.
damn it.
Well, listen, yeah, Supernova. It's an 8%, so it's a double IPA. Again, lots of sexy American hops. A lot of Simcoe in there as well. I think Amarillo gets a place in the hop repertoire as well. But look, we're hoping that it'll be one of those beers that we might actually brew a few times. So. Yeah, hopefully we'll get it across the pond to you guys.
when are we going to see you guys
Fantastic.
pouring at some UK festivals?
Good question.
Yeah.
That is a good question.
That
Is
is.
that why
when-
it's Britain's
when we're
number one beer podcast?
Good answer.
No, not Britain's, the UK's. Let's get that right.
All
Yeah.
right, UK's.
Hopefully next year, Ireland Craft Beers can get you pouring at Indie Man.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Make it happen.
Make it happen.
Just saying.
Lock it in. They're probably watching this as well, so they're just hopefully jotting it down in the diary.
Well, that's it. This time next year in October, roughly. The only thing is for a lot of the Irish guys, Indie Man kind of comes a little bit too soon for them after the Irish Beer Festival, and obviously there was a great Irish Beer Festival in Cork as well, because that came 2 weeks after. So like that's September's busy time for the Irish breweries. Actually, I tried the Norway Goza.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that actually.
In Cork.
I met the lad pouring. I might have had a few on me at the time, but he was going. He's like, "You really don't want to drink this?" I'm like, "Oh, but I do. I like sour beers. Just give it to me." It's like. And then he realised who I was, and he's like, "All right, okay, that's fine. Work away." Because I think all day,
Derek, was it?
It might have been Derek. Yeah. The Citra IPA was just flying. On tap, and it was just like, no, I just needed something to just clean the palate after drinking so many hoppy beers as well. But yeah, so Liam, Colin, and Shane from Ireland Craft Beers. Obviously, none of them could be with us tonight. They will be the guys who to contact. So, like, Rory, for yourself, if you were talking to your local bottle shop there in Gosforth, you can say, like, look, Ireland Craft Beers, I can send you the contact details if you need it as well. I think it's probably a good time for us to finish up. Cameron with a baby in his arms.
Yeah,
It looks like a natural, a natural segue.
that's
Obviously,
made everything very real now. This is real.
Yeah.
see, this is what happens when you drink too much full Irish.
Yeah, this is Steve with
Yeah.
an IPA in his
That's real.
hands. It's just like, it's the same as having a baby in your arms.
Well, the way you're caressing it, Steve.
Is that what you're suggesting? This is the result of drinking too much full Irish.
Oh, Bob's cradling as well. Look at that. Bob's having a good cradle or something right there.
But anyway, on that note, Cam, thanks very much for joining us.
That was a pleasure.
Keep up
Thanks,
the good
mate.
work.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for coming along. Guys, the rest of the panel, thanks very much for being involved in the return of Beer Chats, the Irish Cubbing. We'll be sticking around a little while after if you want to have a few beers and just bounce off.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers for giving up your Saturday evening.
Yeah,
as
like
well,
an hour of
guys.
Saturday evening, Ryder Cup weekend as well.
We do appreciate it. It is on in the background. You can see it.
And all Ireland final as well.
Always good.
And the All Ireland as well, so congratulations to Dublin today for holding off Mayo. So yeah, it's an interesting day of sport. And obviously, thanks very much, and thanks for joining us, everybody. And alesbymail.com are stocking a lot of the 8 Degrees beers. Use the code BeerSnob for a 10% discount up to the end of October, and you can get the beers delivered directly to your doorstep without having to leave the house, which is also handy for the lazy like me. And obviously, keep your eyes out. And if you are looking for Irish craft beers, maybe just mention it to your local bottle shop. Ireland Craft Beers will be the guys in the UK to talk to. Cheers.
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 Thanks, Walter.
Cheers.